Okay. I'm very grumpy about magicians. I was in Borough Market not long ago, and this character came up. He was clearly somewhere like a cross between a magician and a beggar, and goes, "Do you like magic?" And I just went, "Yeah, I do actually. Why don't you make yourself disappear?"
Hello and welcome to Grumpy Old Men. I am, as ever, joined by two incredibly grumpy people. This week is barrister Andrew Eborn and, of course, Mike Graham.
Good evening.
Grumpy sod.
Thank you very much.
Would you like to kick off with
I
railways?
would like to kick off with a very, very grumpy rant about the trains.
Oh, it's not like you.
Because if you'd wanted to travel over the most recent bank holiday, Avanti Trains
One of my favourites.
A message on Thursday of last week to say that there wouldn't be any trains at all. On Saturday, on Sunday and on Monday, all of which were, reasonable travelling days. Yeah. Replacement buses.
Oh, I love it. Don't you
love
love
a replacement
bus?
buses?
Now, listen,
You can feel your very life force ebb away.
I ended up buying a car as
Yes.
a result of replacement buses on the South Eastern network when I used to try and get to Sussex.
Right.
Because it would double the time.
Yes.
Right? And we actually talked to a guy who rang in when I was discussing this on the show this week, who said he once took a trip from Wigan to Wolverhampton. And from Wigan to Wolverhampton is apparently an hour's journey, right?
Yes. Yes.
About there or thereabouts. He said, but unfortunately, not this weekend, but another occasion, there was a series of replacement buses from one part, and then you got off a train, you got on a bus, you got off another bus, third bus, you got back on a train. He said the 1 hour journey from Wigan to Wolverhampton took 19 hours.
19 hours?
19 hours.
That's
He
crazy.
literally got there the next day. So, on Sunday the 20th of April, you could get a replacement bus to Scotland.
Ah.
Can you imagine how long that would take?
Well, you wouldn't be there yet, would you?
No. You'd probably die on the bus.
No.
Replacement buses to Manchester. Replacement buses to Liverpool.
You probably would have died from service station food before you got there.
You probably would have done. And I mean, the joy with which they make these announcements. Avanti West Coast, our services will be severely impacted, they say. They don't say will be non-existent. They say they will be severely impacted.
They will be completely non-existent.
Yes.
And they need to do engineering works, apparently.
It's a nightmare, isn't it? I mean, there is
Where anyone working on those lines will be on double time.
Because it's bank holiday
Yes.
weekend. And that's exactly where the pressure point
Because nobody's travelling. We'll do it then.
And the fees are crazy. I mean, you talk about you could have bought a car for cheaper than the fare ticket. I mean, I looked at how much a cost from London to Manchester would be. It's like 200 quid. You can fly to Rome, Verona, and the south of France. I've done all of that for less than that. So you get changed from a fiver.
Well, there was a couple,
It's
wasn't there, a
nonsense.
few months ago, who needs to pick up a car they bought in Crewe, I think it was, and they lived in Cornwall.
Yes.
And they worked out that it was cheaper for them to fly to Spain, back to Manchester Airport, get a taxi from Manchester Airport to Crewe, pick up the car and drive it back cheaper than getting two second-class tickets.
Right. That's
Do you know
crazy.
what? I haven't done a lot
train.
of travelling recently.
Haven't you?
You're not selling it to me.
Yes.
It's really not a time to be travelling on the trains, that's for sure.
You're absolutely. I mean, what 50? I think I saw the stats. 15% of trains are delayed.
Yeah.
And then about 5% are cancelled. The apologies you get are about sincere as a politician's promise.
Well, on other lines that
You know?
were available over the course of the bank holiday, which of course is only any use if that's where you want to go.
Yeah.
It's all very well saying, well, hang on, we've got a train service to Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Right.
That's not where I'm going.
And I'll walk to Glasgow from
Yeah,
there.
exactly. They would quite often pull the train unannounced because they would say, we haven't got any drivers.
Right.
Now,
Shortage of drivers.
Crazy.
Now, obviously, Andrew, if
Yes.
you were going to your school reunion, you'd
Yes.
go in your flash car to
Well, I
impress
would.
everyone.
You're right.
But you don't want to go anyway, do you?
Well, I think this is the thing about school reunions, that you either get people turning up in their flash cars to show off how wonderfully successful they now are,
Well,
or you get people wearing their one and only shirt and making sure you don't spill the cheap wine on it. And that's what it is. People don't really care. There's the whole thing about nostalgia ain't what it used to be. There's that sort of sense that you must have fun. And you go through the school yearbook hoping it'll be like a Greece reunion.
Can we just be clear? Have you recently been invited to a
I
school
have, and to
reunion?
give speeches at them, to give away the prizes and all sorts of things like that.
right.
I did go to a fantastic school.
But
had
not your
many
own one?
Great memories. There was. They've got a couple of Eborn Cups at my school now.
Oh, really?
And it was my school reunion.
Because, I mean, how long do these... See, I've never been invited to a school
Ever?
reunion.
No, they never invited
I once
me
went
back.
with my ex-wife to her school reunion, which was, I think, I don't know, 20... No, was it 20 years after she left? It might have been. It was 10 years after she left or something like that. But it was horrendous. It was awful. And I was in a very grumpy mood, funny enough. I sat there drinking Jack Daniels all night and not talking.
Well, you're lucky you got Jack
The
Daniels.
weird thing is, I went to quite a lot of different schools.
Yes.
Because they just kept, I don't know, they kept asking me to leave.
Funnily enough.
And weirdly, none of them have asked me back.
Oh, is that
for a
right?
reunion.
Right.
It
Well,
is-
not even now that you're a famous, star
Famous
of
what?
stage and screen
Famous
and,
idiot.
and the kitchen. Well,
No, they
I mean,
don't.
You're a celebrity chef.
Even my school that I studied food at
Yeah.
Yes.
haven't asked me back.
Is that right?
Right.
But
I mean, look, I was a pain in the arse.
yes.
Yeah, but
mean-
that shouldn't.
I know,
but
but
surely the part of the point
absolutely.
of a school reunion, though, is also to boast about.
You
the
have to
famous
get the pain in
people
the
who they
absolutely.
went to their school.
He was a massive pain in the arse while he was
Yes.
here. But
look,
Oh,
look what
they-
he's
they-
turned
they
into
love
now.
it.
and then claim victory for it.
But it's always that sense of disappointment where you realise that your highlight of your life was that woodwork effort prize in year 4.
I think,
and
yeah.
that's the sad thing about it. And it's all about you're comparing your life with other people. I've got a child who's called Tarquin or Fifi Trixabel now, and you're comparing that sort of stuff. And the person that you
I didn't know you went to
fancied.
school with a Geldof.
Oh, yeah, did you? There you go. And you look at the person you fancied in lower sixth, the wings of that angel are just
it an
bingo
all-boys
wings now.
school?
Yeah, a bit of a worry, isn't it? Absolutely.
But hold on. I mean, part of it, the horror of it,
Yes.
is going back and you look at the other people and you go, Christ, do I look as bad as them?
Yeah.
But no, that's the joy of it, though. That's what people do. They sit there being very smug about it, saying, I'm much more successful than that poor person in the corner over there who was the SWAT and got
I
the
don't
prizes.
actually know anybody that I went to school with. Do you?
You
know,
don't?
Phil? No.
No.
Well, they now.
I feel a bit sorry for people who still look back at their school years, particularly those who say, "Oh, it was the greatest time
Best
of my
years of my
life."
life. I hated
Really?
it.
Well, it's a bit sad, isn't it? You then look back and some people realise that really was the best years of their
For
life.
some people, yeah, but I mean, I just find that a bit sad, really. A bit sort of a bit pitiful.
I've got no interest in looking that far back.
No.
Yes.
Mainly
think I
because
know
I'm
that-
not sure how far forward I've got to go. So why do I want to
there's a
spend
couple of
time
people I
looking
went to
backwards?
university with who are dead.
Well,
That's how long ago it was for me. So, there's not
It
much
is
of a
true.
reunion there.
Now, I want to change the subject.
Okay.
Yes.
Because we're going to talk about a ubiquitous thing in all of our lives now, which is terms and conditions.
Or T's and C's,
T's
as we
and
like to
Cs.
call them.
Now, when this annoys me at its zenith is when I've rung up to renew something.
Yes.
Right.
And it's like, can I just take you through our T's and C's? It's like, no, I need the service.
Yeah.
I haven't cancelled it despite being
Right.
penniless. I'm renewing this. I don't care about your
Yeah.
T's and C's. I didn't last time.
Right.
And I don't want to sit on the phone while you read them out
Isn't
to
there
me.
a part of you that thinks, but they've especially inserted one particular paragraph which says, and we will take your firstborn child if you ever miss a payment?
Yes.
That would
something.
That would lend itself to a conspiracy theory.
It would.
And as we know, conspiracy theories are purely there to help stupid people feel clever.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
true.
but-
But sometimes they become true over time.
Well, doesn't
know,
everything?
Exactly right. The older you get, the more you realise you might have been right in the first place.
Or
Absolutely.
that I knew nothing.
Well, in your case, it's possibly true.
Well, what's interesting, Deloitte did a survey on this. They reckon that 91% of the people, 91% don't read T's and C's. I think the other 9
Who
were
are the nine?
lying. Exactly. I think that they were lying. Everybody clicks. Nobody's going to read 50 pages of
It's like it comes
this,
up
that,
and he goes,
and the other.
I agree. And now you've got this thing, DocuSign, when
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
nobody wants what they used to call, or what they now call, which I think is a disgusting term,
Yes.
a wet signature.
Oh, it's hot. Oh,
Oh.
yes. Yes.
Oh, is that what they
Yes,
call
We're
it?
going back to
I think
that school.
we're going to
That's-
need a wet signature on that.
Right.
Oh.
But you
Does
know-
that mean I sort of
That's
drool
horrible.
Yeah,
over
drool.
the page?
Do you
like-
have your own sort of pre-made signature?
Yeah.
Or do you have to do a new one every
No,
time?
I've got
Because it
the
gives you the
app on
option.
my phone.
It gives you the
Yeah.
option, doesn't it?
I have created
Yeah.
my own one.
Right.
I just hit
What
that.
about when the guy brings the parcel and you have to sign that little square of plastic?
I literally do an X.
It literally looks like you could write
no,
anything.
But
there.
I
most people
can't-
could. I mean, you do that. Nobody's got a signature
No.
that looks like that. If you held it up in
Well,
court,
also,
it
the
would
other thing
work.
is,
You know.
at my age, my hands aren't as steady. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the idea that I could do a fair
Yes.
representation of my signature,
Yes.
which, when in its wet form,
Yes.
is different every single
Yeah, that
time I
does
do it
sound
anyway.
disgraceful, doesn't it? And do they allow you not to have to listen to the T's and C's then, when you ask them not to read them out to you? Or do they read them out really quickly like they do on the
I mean,
adverts?
Look, we've got someone in the legal profession.
Yes.
Should we Is there anything in a T's and C's we should be
Without
concerned
doubt. And I'll
about?
tell you why. Data is the new currency.
Right.
And what's happening, everybody's agreeing for all of their data to be given to these big companies. So effectively, your life could be put on a billboard in Narnia. You're working on that sort of basis. So people are giving away stuff. The great thing is, as a lawyer...
And you're just going tick.
Everybody's just saying, yes, I agree. And you can tell it's the biggest lie we always say is, I've read the terms and conditions, because nobody reads the terms and conditions.
9% of
But if
strange
you've
people
ticked
with
a
nothing
box
in
that
their
says
life.
you have,
Well,
you
you're
have
lying.
no legal position.
Well-
no, but you have no legal position, surely,
I-
to then say, well, I didn't
What
know.
I would say, and there is case law in this, and I think this is fantastic, is that if something's particularly onerous as a terms and conditions, it's up to the company to really emphasise that point to prove that you've read it. So actually, you could
Like
get
you're
out of
going
these
to
sort of
take
things.
your firstborn.
Yeah, we're going to take your secondborn's okay, but your firstborn, you work on that principle. So they've got to make sure, if it's a particularly onerous case, they've got to make sure you're aware of it.
Over to you, Mike.
Yeah, well, listen, nothing to do with present company at all. The man to my left, obviously, is involved in this. I'm going to say magicians.
Ah, yes.
I'm very grumpy about magicians. I was in Borough Market not long ago, and this character came up, and he was clearly somewhere like a cross between a magician and a beggar.
You're right.
Right. Again,
I
I'm
tried
not drawing
hard.
any.
It wasn't
drawing-
Andrew.
It was not Andrew. No, he was nowhere near as well dressed, but he
Aye.
looked a bit down at heel.
Okay.
And we were sitting outside this pub, myself and my sister and my daughter and one of my other friends. And this bloke comes up randomly and goes, "Do you like magic?" And I just went, "Yeah, I do actually. Why don't you make yourself disappear?" To which, of course, he said, "Oh yeah, I've never heard that before." Ho ho ho. I said, "I'm not joking. F off."
Right.
So he did. He then came back the next day. I mean, I don't want you to think badly of me, but I was in the same pub, this time inside the pub. And he came round, the same guy,
Yes.
and said, "Do you like magic?" I went, "You saw me yesterday." He said, "Oh, did I? Oh, how you doing, man?" And I never wanted him to play a magic trick.
Andrew,
Yes.
as a member of the magic
member of the
Yeah.
inner magic circle with
Oh, the
Gold
inner.
Star, I'll
All
have
right.
you know.
Well, let me just
Absolutely.
tell you, before he responds, right, my friend who was with me on day one
Yes.
said this. He said, the problem with magicians is they're all perverts. He said, and the reason they are, I'm serious, I mean, I don't know if they are, but the reason they are
Yes.
is because it's the only way they could get women.
Ah, there
They're
you
all
go.
people who had some kind of deficiency
Yes.
socially.
Is that how you
So-
met the
I have
current
to
Mrs.
say
Eborn?
that I have to agree with 99%
Thank
of what
you.
you say. The 99% of magicians give the other 1% a bad name.
Yeah.
And what happens is bad magicians are awful. I used to love the style of people like Tommy Cooper,
Yeah, he was
which is
brilliant.
fantastic. It's
Brilliant.
about comedy. It's rather like you get bad singers,
Yes.
you still like the songs, you like the writers,
Yeah.
you work on that sort of basis. But magicians are used to those lines about make yourself disappear.
Yeah.
And often you're going around a table or whatever it is, doing your whatever you do, and they will turn around and say, "Can you make my wife
hopefully
disappear?"
magic.
No, don't do any magic. Can you make my wife disappear? To which the answer is always yes, but it's going to cost you a house and half your income for the rest of your life.
There
So
we
you
go.
work on that
Good
sort of
on you.
basis.
He's here till Friday. He tried the veal.
Everyone's a winner. But you're right. Bad magicians are appalling.
Yeah.
What we need to do is
But
get
it's
good
not-
magicians.
but
Mike
Sleight of
was
hand.
terribly good at making other people's wives disappear.
I could, but only for a short time. And then they could bring them back.
He'd bring them straight back when it was finished.
Is that right?
But here's the thing. I mean, you know, there are certain jokes and tricks
Yes.
which can be entertaining. I mean, one of the lovely shows that I ever saw was Penn and Teller.
Yeah,
I thought
brilliant.
Penn and Teller were great.
Right.
They were brilliant, very entertaining.
Where do you stand on Blaine?
Blaine, I don't get. I don't like the box
In a
thing.
box, you know, that
I
he-
don't, and
just
where is he
outside?
now? I mean, these people just
Still in the
disappear.
box.
They make themselves disappear. Was he the one that walked across the Thames as well?
No, that was
that was Dynamo.
Dynamo.
Well, where's he
we have
gone?
our own.
Well, to be
David-
fair, he had a bad stomach for a while.
No, he
Was
did.
that because of the river?
What about Paul Daniels?
Well, a bit like
Paul
David
Daniels.
Wallier.
Paul Daniels and Debbie
He's dead.
McGee.
Well, and the
Well,
dog.
Debbie McGee's
Let's not
still
forget-
here.
David
She'll
Nixon.
She'll
Let's not
sell you a
forget-
cupboard door.
Let's not forget the
Magic
Alsatian.
Kitchen.
Andrew,
Yes.
with another form of magic,
Yes.
AI girlfriends replacing
Absolutely.
real girlfriends.
This is what's happening. It's a $1.3 billion business. And what's happening now, people, the first thing you touch in the morning, the last thing you touch at night.
An AI
is
girlfriend. No one will
absolutely-
ever learn magic again.
That's what happens. So what's happened, there was a survey done in California saying that most people realise that chatting to ChatGPT, it's more empathetic than chatting to your GP. Firstly, because you can never get hold of a
You
GP.
can't get hold of one, yeah.
Exactly. They've got a longer time to do it. So you have all this big, massive amounts of AI girlfriends. And it's a huge business. Say
It's one massive in
9.3
Japan,
billion.
right?
Massive in Japan, massive over here as well. Really? And you might remember there was that terrible case with the person who with a crossbow went in to try and kill the Queen. Do you remember that? Chill was his name. And he said that his AI girlfriend told him to do it. And they basically know things about you. They develop that sort of stuff. They know more about you than your mother.
Is there an upside
But they don't
to
exist,
this?
though.
But
Well, they don't.
They're an image.
They are an
on the
image.
screen,
Absolutely.
right?
But you're combining that with
I'm
robotics.
just
and
looking
things
at
like
it as
that
a potential way of solving a problem because we
Yes.
have this incel problem.
We do.
It's like, here, have a girlfriend.
Yes.
Not real.
Yeah.
But have one.
Oh no.
Well, do you know, that's not as stupid as it sounds, because this week there was a guy in a university in this country who said, I've got an idea for incels, teach them on a dating app how to date women.
Yes.
Which is almost as ridiculous, isn't it? Because, I mean, there's a reason the incel is not going out anywhere. It's because he can't talk to anyone.
No.
You're not going to just go, I'm going to teach you how to
But
date
I mean,
people.
this does further drive that sector of the world deeper into
It's
that
pretend,
sector
it's
of the world.
pretend reality.
It is totally
And
pretend
if you're
reality.
not, you know, if you can't meet somebody who doesn't exist, then you're borderline insane.
And this is the problem. Now people can't
I've got a
communicate.
girlfriend. I suppose you could have a
Why don't
pen
we have
friend.
her over?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'll bring my iPad.
Yeah.
Well, it's getting better than that now because you're combining that with robotics.
It's
and
weird
the thing,
science.
if you see some of these robot dolls, they are very realistic. And I can tell you that the
I
future
saw a
is going to be.
documentary about the robotic
that's right.
sex dolls.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
no,
which
but
are
you-
also big in Japan.
Well, no, but can't you connect? You can get this attachment
Yes.
where you've got your friend on the screen.
Oh, yeah.
And then you can attach something
Haptics,
downstairs.
it's called. Yes,
yeah.
haptics.
And it's
Haptics.
Haptics with a P.
haptics.
Haptics.
I've got haptics on my phone.
You have. It's basically that when you press down, it
my
feels
phone
like it's
doesn't do
pushing
that.
back.
My phone doesn't do
you've
that.
you've got an AI girlfriend. I'm confused now.
I've got a thing called haptics
Yes,
on my
that's
phone.
what it is.
Okay.
But I don't know what it is.
Oh, what it is,
it will-
you feel as
just-
though you're being pushed back. So when you're pressing a button, it feels as though it's a button. It's actually an electric impulse.
I wouldn't put
I haven't put it on.
put your phone in your front pocket
No,
anymore.
and I don't even know what it's
Your
for.
haptics could play havoc with you in the middle of your show.
No. But it's very weird, isn't it?
It is totally
because
weird.
we live in a world now where apparently the fertility rate is dwindling,
Yes.
going lower and lower, where the birth rate is going lower and lower, apart
Yes.
from in countries where you don't want it to be going higher, where it is. And
Well, it's 'cause
you know,
they don't have-
at this rate, the human race will be
Oh,
killed off.
absolutely.
You
AI.
haven't got an
arti-
AI. You can't have an AI baby.
No, well, you can. It's artificial insemination. It's going to have to be that
It's
for
also
the future.
it's AI.
Exactly, exactly. There's
Artificial insemination,
Exactly.
AI.
That's why I said absolutely. It's not a
But
coincidence.
it's different.
Well, no, but it's the same initials as well.
I mean, you end up with a real baby
Yeah,
after that.
you
Well,
actually
it
have to
depends
look
if you're
after it.
artificially inseminate an AI model.
Oh yes, if I am via my haptics, which
yeah.
are literally crowding my trousers and
Absolutely.
my phone, I then
a very strange
produce
thing.
an AI spritz.
Who's making
Yes.
money out of all
Oh, lots of people. So I tell you, $1.3 billion industry. And so these
What,
big
just
tech
the
companies.
girlfriend
Just the
thing?
AI girlfriends. It's huge. Also, I can predict, as a futurist.
Is it like a virtual hooker?
It is.
Yeah.
It is a virtual hook. It's totally that. It will do whatever
it's
you
a
want.
prostitute by subscription.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a whole new meaning to hard drive and 3-inch floppy. The whole idea, the
Maybe one for
whole
the teenagers.
idea, exactly. The whole idea, though, is that in the future, companionship through robotics is going to be the big thing. People are very lonely, and so AI
Yeah,
is
there's a
going to be
reason
doing
for
that
that.
sort of
They
stuff.
don't go out.
They're all
You know,
magicians.
get out of the house.
Get out of the house.
Stop
Talk to
talking
someone.
to features of an iPhone that don't exist and go and meet somebody.
You are right,
Well,
because what happens
recently there was that
communication
craze.
terrible,
I saw yours pop up, mine popped up.
Oh,
There
yeah,
was the little Mattel
the action
toy
model.
action
Yeah.
figures.
Right. Oh,
yes, they're good, aren't
There
they?
was a rash of those.
Yes.
That was all AI.
And you can
wasn't
now animate them apart from the figures. You can actually, there's an extra thing that you can put on top of
you saying
that AI stuff.
You saying that Mike Graham could potentially
He could be
offer himself
animated.
up as an AI boyfriend?
Oh, absolutely.
could.
I think he
And
already
he could-
does. I've
he
seen
could
it. It's got to be good.
haptic his way into your virtual pants.
There
Let's
is
call me
indeed,
haptic.
there is indeed licensing. This, a lot of celebrities have stopped this. There are doll celebrities that people have been buying, and celebrity have been stamping them out as a result of it. These deep fakes are now becoming 3D
Because
real
I remember
versions.
ages ago seeing one of those documentaries on Channel 4, I think,
Yes.
about those men who spent a fortune on those really
Oh, that's right. They get
creepy
delivered and
life-size
they send them
dolls.
off.
Yeah, I was
Replace the
saying,
pot?
I've seen the same one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they sort of treat them as if they're humans.
They
Yeah.
do.
Do you
It's
think
very odd.
It's really weird.
And they speak to it. And actually, they're better than humans because you don't need to take them out for dinner. It doesn't cost that much and so on and so forth.
No,
and,
they're not.
Well, they don't eat.
And you have to... And they don't eat. But it's a
And
real...
they don't suffer from, disease or
No.
Well,
old age.
some of them do. They have to sort of send off... I won't go into the details. They had to send off some of the parts.
Oh no, you could
You
pull
had to
out-
replace them. You remember that
could pull
documentary?
out. I remember
Yes,
that. You
yes.
could pull it out, send it back.
That's what you do. And you
just
get a
when
new
you've
one.
worn it out.
Yes.
It's like a sort of old,
Yes, and you get a new
like an old
bit.
tyre.
It is an old tyre.
I mean, the
Absolutely.
haptics have gone to hell on
The
this.
retread.
365 in a good year.
That's
It's an
appalling.
old gag.
Do you want a
Absolutely.
completely new set or some retread?
Yeah.
It's exactly what happened. But that's
I've
the
got
future,
some just
isn't
come
it?
back.
But
One careful owner. But you
That's
wasn't.
appalling.
it is appalling.
really is.
Oh, I'll tell you what is
Crikey.
appalling. We're going to move on. I'll tell you what is appalling. There's a new fashion.
Is there?
Yes.
And I find it extraordinary. Now, some may say, who are you to talk?
I mean, you are a very fashionable man.
Absolutely. Look at that jacket.
Or incredibly misguided.
I don't think
really
so.
care.
No, I see you as a fashion
literally-
leader.
No, I've got to that point in my life as people say it's obvious, I don't care.
Yeah.
Right? But when I see young person's fashion,
Yes.
I go, really? I don't remember being that stupid.
Yeah.
I probably was. But oversized shoes. They're all
Yes.
wearing massive shoes.
Are they? What, you mean the big sort of platform ones?
Yeah, but I mean...
Brothel creepers,
Yeah,
like
but-
Angela Rayner.
Exactly.
She's
Angela Rayner...
no spring chicken, if you pardon my
well,
expression.
no, some of her hair is.
Ah.
Her hair's very young.
Yeah.
So it doesn't belong to
Yeah.
her. But I just don't get it. They look ridiculous.
They do.
Yes.
You look like a sort of two-set golf club.
They're like Frankenstein shoes, aren't they?
yeah.
They're the big
Herman
blocks.
Munster. Do you remember
Yeah,
them?
I do.
Herman Munster's fantastic,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But all the sort of big brands have gone down this route
Have they?
now where they go, you can get a Balenciaga massive shoe or a...
Well, if you buy Balenciagas, to be honest, you're a massive tool. So you deserve everything you get.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't mention James Max. He likes a Balenciaga shoe.
Oh, does
Does
he?
He does, yeah.
Very expensive.
Does he wear a big...
No, I haven't
Balenciaga?
seen it, but he likes to wear a Balenciaga sort of sports shoe. A sort of, a
Is that,
trainer.
is that like a sort of smasual trainer?
The only people that
Smart
the only
casual,
people,
smasual, is
the
that
only
it?
people that wear them are running gangs out of Ladbroke Grove.
No, they're not. They couldn't run away from anything.
You certainly
in
couldn't run
those.
anywhere.
Well, they
Interestingly,
run away from Selfridges and they steal them.
Yeah.
Well, that's a
and
problem.
then they sell them
Yeah.
online to someone
and
unsuspecting.
there are thousands on there. And Vogue actually did a research, and they said that 12% of the luxury sneaker market, 12% are these oversized shoes. It's
Yeah.
the big thing at the moment.
It's huge.
And it's
and they're
crazy.
ridiculous.
And you do.
People
You look
It
like
makes
big
people
souls,
taller
don't
as
you?
well.
Well,
Makes them taller.
yeah, you're taller. You're a bit
Yeah.
taller.
Yes.
Much more stupid.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, I used to wear platform shoes back in the day.
Oh, did you?
In the 70s, yeah. I went through a period of time when I was still at school.
But with a massive flare.
With a massive flare.
Which
I remember
sort of
I embarrassed my father very much once because I turned up at the golf club wearing them. And, the golf club had these little places to put your shoes underneath,
and they weren't going in.
And he went, "You're not putting those there." He said, "You'll have to hide those in a locker." He said, what are you wearing those here for?"
You've turned up in the shoe of a
He
woman.
was not happy. But yeah, I mean, you do wear some stupid stuff when
I mean,
you're
look,
young.
I today I have what I would describe as a classic large shoe on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which
That is large.
That's
a
like
DM.
is that a DM?
It's
yeah.
a DM. That's very nice. But
That's
DMs
as
are
big
good.
as
But
this
see,
shoe
but
should
those,
be.
those have sort of lasted the test of time.
They're the classic.
Yeah, and they've become quite famous.
If you want a big shoe,
yeah.
wear a
DMs are
DM.
good, and you can
What
pimp
sort
your
of shoes do you
DMs
wear?
now. I've got sort of.
you got on.
I've got like a
What's he got
size
on?
2 foot normally, but
That's
this
a
is
big shoe.
that's a big shoe.
That's a big
I'm a
shoe.
big lad. you know, it's gotta be-
Whereas Mike is in a finely bespoke.
Well, what are you wearing, Mike?
I'm wearing some.
Can you lift your leg above the
Chelsea,
table? Oh,
Chelsea
look at
boots.
those.
There you go.
Yes,
From
there are
Barker's,
they.
I think.
Oh, they're very
Barker.
nice.
He's
You
got
know,
some
those
Barker.
those are very nice.
Very
yeah.
nice.
How dare you?
Sensible
shoes.
shoes.
I'm very impressed.
We may be very, very grumpy, but our shoes are sensible.
Yes.
Anyway, that's enough of all that. I think we're going to end on some wise words from me. First, I would like to say thanks to Andrew and Mike for taking part, but leave you with this thought. Be careful of the toes you tread on today. They may be connected to the arse you have to kiss tomorrow.